KT Wearable Art presents polymer clay sheets using our polymer cane extruders. Today's project, making beads out of sheets of polymer clay. The inspiration will be this dress. We're going to make plugs out of polymer clay in red, orange, and peach. Once you have your canes inserted into the polymer cane extruder, you take slices, but you first have to reduce them to size. Once they're reduced to size, you mist the inside of the tube part of the polymer cane extruder. Use a little mist water spray. This one I used a large water bottle. Next time I will use a mister. Insert your plug if you have one, made out of polymer clay. I'm going to compress it with the rod, and you slice very thin slices. And I'm just using the back of my hand and the rods inserted in the back with a small little motion with my fingers as I hold it firmly down on my cutting surface. This tool helps prevent distortion of your polymer canes, and you can cut as thick or thin as you want. And you place your slices all over your rolled out sheet of polymer clay. This is the largest setting on the pasta machine. Here is the largest polymer cane extruder in 7/8 of an inch. Once you smooth them out, you can now insert this in the pasta machine to smooth out any imperfections. I want this a little thicker, so I'm going to place it on another rolled out sheet on the thickest setting. Make sure you don't trap air bubbles. I still want this thicker because once I put it in the pasta machine again, I want it at least the thickness of a number 1 on the pasta machine. Remove any excess. I'm going to use this rubber stamp on the back with some cornstarch. Notice I'm standing. Press this firmly onto the back. You want to pay attention to put firm pressure all over. You only have one shot to do this. Take your time. Now I'm ready to cut out with my cookie cutters. Once you're happy with your cutouts, put them on a tile. My fingers were sticking, so I put a little cornstarch on my fingers. I made a homemade bail. Once they're cured, they can be sanded. This is not my favorite part, but it needs to be done, especially the edges. To add a little interest, I'm using this rubber stamp. It's a love letter. And I'm going to put some embossing powder on this, on these beads. I'm going to carefully place the bead on there. And I have some gold embossing powder. I'm going to heat set these. Now is when you can remove any excess embossing powder. This rub and buff in an antique gold comes in different colors. It's a metallic wax finish. I'm going to use a little scrubby brush. This cleans up with mineral spirits. A little goes a long way. I'm going to cover this bail, the sides, the back, and the edges, and even on the inside. Once it's dry, it can be buffed to a nice shine. Don't over buff or you'll remove it. It will need to be finished with a sealer. Here I'm using a triple thick varathane. Covering the embossing powder too, as well as the back and sides once the front's dry. Now it just needs to be strung and put on some ear wires. You can also use the polymer cane extruders to make beads. You can cover your base bead. Here is the smallest polymer cane extruder I'm using, and notice how quickly you can slice these very thin slices. You can make your base bead and cover them with slices of large polymer cane slices. Here I'm separating all these small pieces because they'll stick to each other. You can use the large or the small slices to cover the whole bead. I've chosen to cover the top and bottom with large slices of the polymer cane extruder. Make sure there's no hair in there. Smooth it out. Get rid of all your seams. And now I'm going to add all these little slices around the edge. Once you have them cured, you can pierce them before or after. And here I'm stringing them on rat tail or satin cord, knotting them in between, putting your needle in and pulling very tight close to each bead. I also made some spacer beads. You will lose about 3/4 of an inch with each knot, so compensate for the length of your piece. Once you have the amount of beads that you want, double check your measure, and then you can put your clasps on. With this rat tail cord, it frays, so you want to make sure that you cut it and then burn the frayed or the edge so it won't fray. Measure it again, measure twice, cut once. And I have a knot on the end so I don't lose any of the beads. At this point, we have some crimp clasps. Crimp it good, make sure that it's in there securely. Put your jump beads on there, jump rings, and there you have it with your clasp. Here are a few extra necklaces and earrings made. The polymer cane extruder is patented and will be coming soon. Thanks for watching.